Well, hello everyone and happy Thursday. Welcome to today's edition of Daily Connections. I can't believe we've made it through April. I heard someone describing the other day that March was the longest month on anyone's recollection, and April seems to have just flown by. Here it is, April 30th already. Thank you for taking this journey with me. I hope that these daily connections have been useful to you. My name is Sinika Wah, and this is part of our commitment here at Your Clear Next Step to just make sure that on a regular, consistent basis, we have some consistency, we have some positivity, we have some chance to connect and build relationships and network with each other, especially at a time when so many of us were feeling isolated and separated from others. In today's topic, we're actually going to talk about develop yourself. Develop yourself is the title of the topic, and it's going to be looking at professional and personal development, a topic near and dear to my heart, as you might imagine. But we're going to talk about kind of what that looks like and why would I bring it up right now during COVID-19? I think there's a truth that COVID-19 has created a space for many of us. It has, for some people, it has created more time in your calendar. Some of us don't have our commute time anymore, or at least momentarily. Some have a lighter schedule or fewer things on the agenda. And so there's some extra space in that. Some of us have some space to just think in a different way, to really consider things. And the other reality is that for those who are running businesses, we also have some space that's been created around our employees and a void and a vacuum there that we would be well served to fill. So what I want to talk about today are some reasons for professional development, some really compelling reasons that we should focus on professional development, and then what to do about it. And of course, hoping to give you a clear next step on what to do. So professional and development, what does it include? Well, it includes any form of training or coaching or mentoring or completing assessments and doing follow-ups to understand who you are, being part of webinars, being part of book clubs, being part of study groups, reading a book and taking some insight to that. Belonging to a professional association. I'm an active member of both the IIBA, the International Institute of Business Analysis, and the Project Management Institute, so the PMI. Being part of that's professional development. Certification programs, if you decided to get your certification in coaching or your certification in underwater basket weaving or your certification in Agile, these are all, this is professional development, right? This is growing your skills. Anytime you are actively engaged intentionally in skill growth, in development of your ability to interact with the professional world, to interact with your work world, to interact with those around you, I believe we're doing development. And I think development is so powerful. So let's talk about 4 really, really good reasons to focus on professional development. The first one is that mastery brings motivation. So we know this because Daniel Pink, in his wonderful work, Drive, the Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us, Dan Pink does a bunch of research and discovers that it's not the paycheck that motivates us. That what motivates us is being paid enough to take money off the table, so money's not a distraction. But beyond that, it is the ideas of autonomy and mastery and purpose. So autonomy is being self-directed, and mastery is the getting betterness at things, and purpose is, of course, being connected to something bigger than yourself. But mastery is one of the things that motivates us. If you want someone to do even more than anything beyond rudimentary cognitive skills, right? As soon as you need someone to engage and use their brain and think, it turns out that a motivator is the ability to get better. So you, as an individual, may need to motivate yourself to get better at something. And getting better is a motivator. If you've ever thought about picking up an instrument, I picked up a guitar a few years ago and worked on that. And the joy that I would get when I could go from my first chord to my second chord, that joy of progression. Look, I can change, and I don't even have to look at my fingers anymore to make the change. That's cool, right? That's motivating. That keeps us moving forward. So mastery brings motivation. If you are considering motivation for your employees. Right now, we have this moment where COVID-19 is extending longer than I think many of us wanted to believe at the beginning. And some places are opening up, some states are opening up, some regulations are loosening, if you will. But I think it's still a long run before we're back to, as sort of everybody, quote, back at their day jobs all the time, all day, every day. I think there is then a void right now and a vacancy for our employees. You may have employees employees sitting around wondering kind of how they're filling their time and what to do. And you can invest in them. You can develop them. You can offer coaching sessions. You can offer training. You can make webinars available to them. And that will motivate them. It will motivate them to stay connected to you. It will motivate them to be engaged with what's going on. It will motivate them intrinsically to keep doing even better on their own. Mastery brings motivation. So here's a second truth, right? Why does your Clear Next Step exist? We exist in our mission to make the workday better so that we can have better weekends and better evenings so that we can contribute our time to building better communities, right? Well, if you get better, if you do development, if you do professional development and skills development, your better skills make your workday easier. If you are a user of Microsoft Excel and you've been stuck on a set of formulas, and every time you need to use that set of formulas, you either have to go back to an old file and copy paste or go bug a colleague or struggle through it, then why not use this opportunity to take a class in Excel and get a little better, right? That'll make your day job easier. It'll make it so that your daily interactions, and I just use Excel as one of those examples. Maybe it's interpersonal skills and you haven't quite mastered how to deal with that tough nut in your team, tough person, that challenging personality in your team. Maybe you haven't just figured out how to do that yet. Well, skill development in relationships, skill development in communication styles, skill development in getting along with others and communicating with them effectively, that will make your day job easier, right? As we spend time developing ourselves, it's not the selfish, hey, I'm going to motivate myself. That is absolutely a bonus, but it's also the, hey, I can make my workday easier. And there's going to be even more out of this. So professional development is a good idea because more skills make the day easier. So I'm sharing some of these because some of you are leaders and you have the opportunity now to be thinking about how to develop your team members and develop your talent. And some of you are individuals going, but I really want to make a case for professional development. There was that class I wanted to take, or there was that webinar I wanted to go to or attend. And I want to make a good case. So these are ways that you can help make that good case. Point 3, development prepares you for what's next. Development prepares you for what's next. So if all I do is laser focus, heads down, nose to the grindstone, just on what I know how to do, all I can ever do is what I know how to do today, right? I can't grow. I can't move to the next responsibility. I can't take on more work. I can't take on higher levels of decision-making authority within the organization, more responsibility. I can't be more helpful than I already am if all I know is what got me here, right? What got us here will not get us where we want to go. And so this professional development, the idea of development, it prepares you for what's next. It equips you, any one of those assessments that you might take. And I got a chance to hear Barb Rank this morning talking in more detail about her Life on Purpose program. And she talks about that we're launching, it starts next week. And some of the folks who are hearing the recording on this may be thinking, oh my gosh, I got to sign up fast because registration closes today. So do make sure you do that. But she talks about these assessments and the self-identification and the self-awareness, which is so critical to our professional development, our professional experience, and our ability to succeed. Man, any one of those assessments that you might do and any coaching around that and any program that allows you to understand yourself better prepares you to be a better leader, a better employee, a better communicator, better at your specific job. It prepares you for the next thing that you're going to do. Point number 4. Professional development shows them you're serious. So if you are an individual who's kind of thinking, oh, I think project management is kind of cool. And then you went ahead and started taking some training and some classes or some courseware in project management, or you joined the Project Management Institute. And eventually you got your certification that says, I am a certified project management professional. Now, all of a sudden, the people around you, your leadership, your potential employers, your current employers, they become aware that you're serious about this stuff. This is important to you. And they realize that you are willing to invest yourself in that. And that then will cause them to sort of stand up and take notice and see how they can help you in that. It also, from a leadership standpoint, if you're considering developing people who work for you, professional development shows them that you're serious. If you're willing to invest your organization's dollars or your personal dollars, if it's your own business, if you're willing to invest those dollars in someone else and in someone else's growth, It shows them you're serious. It shows that commitment to that other individual, and it increases retention in a phenomenal way. Professional development, offering development opportunities to employees, and especially if you target someone and say, hey, this is what I want for you and here's why, that creates this wonderful, wonderful retention and loyalty where the person wants to stay. And for years there was that message, well, what if we train them all and they leave? And the flip side, of course, is what if we don't train them and they stay, right? What if we develop these people and we've invested that time and they go off and they do other things? Well, as a leader, my joy is the time that I get to spend with you. And if I'm helping you become your best self and I only get a little bit of the journey while you move on to the next thing, well, that's okay too. It's still my joy to help you become the best you can possibly be. So a couple of different thoughts on why. So if you're trying to make the case for professional development, these are my 4 thoughts. Mastery brings motivation. More skills makes your day job easier. Professional development prepares you for what's next. And development shows them, whoever they happen to be, shows them that you're serious. Okay, so what does this look like? What does this look like in COVID-19? Gosh, Seneca, we're on tight budgets right now. We're not just flinging money around in training. I know. Believe me, I know. And so what we need to do is we need to look at how we get creative on that. So for yourself, what does this commitment to professional development look like right here, 7 weeks or how many weeks into COVID-19 we are at this point? I think it looks like being intentional. I think it looks like taking an inventory. What are you interested in? Where do you want to grow? Where do you need some extra motivation? What skills do you need to make your day job easier? What do you want to do next, right? Take some inventory. Right now, that doesn't cost a lot. Do it on over your lunch hour if you need to not put it on the company dime, but certainly some conversation about with yourself or with your leader, with a colleague about what you could do to be even better. This is a great thing. As a business owner and as a leader and as an employer, if any one of my employees ever came to me and said, hey, I've been thinking about what I want to grow into, I would say, wonderful. Let's sit down. Let's chat about this, right? This is something I hold very, very dearly. So just spending the time on it, that can be one. How about as a friend? What if you're engaged in a conversation with someone who is hemming and hawing and they're like, oh, I'm feeling stuck, or I don't know how to get somewhere, or I'm frustrated, or I don't have a job right now. I wonder what it's going to look like when employment starts being available again. Encourage that person. Encourage that person to look at some of the free services that are out there, or the really, really affordable ones. We've got webinars available for as little as $15. We've got group webinars for team development that are as little as $69 for a 30-day window for up to 100 people. So there are affordable options out there. If you've got a friend that's thinking about it, look for some of those, the free things. Look for books that you've recommended or that you've read that you enjoyed and share them with them. Steer them towards people who can be mentors to them or who can coach them. If you have a career of coaching and mentoring and that's something that you already do naturally, maybe you've been doing it for a living for a few years, now's a great time to give back. Now's a great time to informally, as a friend, as someone who knows this space and knows how to do this, you can offer that suggestion and that guidance to others. For an employee, I cited some of the things that are out there. We've got individual training programs. We've got here at Your Clear Next Step, of course, we're deeply committed. We're a training and coaching company, and I can help steer you to things. If there's something that you're looking for that we don't offer, I very often can recommend other sources where you can find those kinds of things. But really spend some time here now in COVID-19. Use this as one of your chances to connect with your employees. If you've got team members who are kind of scattered about and maybe you're tired of the happy hours and maybe you're tired of the team meetings that seem to just keep going on with no particular purpose. Maybe you have one-on-ones and don't know what to talk about. I don't know. But in those moments, use this as a new subject of conversation. Talk about professional development with them. Where do they want to go? What do they want? What are they interested in? Engage them in that conversation and see what becomes of it. Be willing to invest a little bit of time in that conversation, a little bit of time into researching some options. Be willing to invest some dollars into that because it will return in the end. For your team or your organization, same basic principle, I would say, as you're looking at your strategy right now, as we're looking at so many of us, how do we come out of COVID-19? What does it look like? Well, many of us will need a different set of skills, right? How many of the early stories did we hear where a group that used to do something wound up doing something else because all of a sudden they redeployed their staff as delivery drivers or redeployed their staff as curbside service folks? learning new skills for your team as a whole. Maybe you need to invest in customer service in a new way. Maybe it's interpersonal skills because people are interacting with people in a different way. But look at your team and look at where you're pivoting. And as you're creating that pivot plan, as you're creating that plan for coming out of COVID-19, think about professional development and how that can retain your staff, how that can help grow your abilities to be successful.